Today, guys, we're going to be going over a few things that I wish I knew sooner when I started playing in Grand RP. Now, I've been here for a fairly long time. As you may know, my ID is 14,514, which means I was the 14,000th person to join the city. We are now nearing 500k IDs, which is kind of insane. That's a lot of people that have played on this server. But throughout the time that I've been playing, I've definitely made a lot of mistakes, and I'm sure a lot of you guys have as well. So I'm going to tell you a few things that I wish I did differently, and I'm sure some of you guys out there probably wish you did a few things differently as well. So be sure to comment them down below to help out some of the newer players. But anyways, I hope you go on to enjoy today's video, and if you haven't joined the server before and want to, be sure to click the link down below in the description, click on start playing, select which server you want to play on, register an account, download the launcher, and if you need any more assistance, there's a quick video at the end to help you guys out. But with that said, I hope you enjoy, and let's jump into this. The very first thing is going to be rules and laws. Now, back when I joined, this was the very first RP server I've ever played on, and I'm assuming for a lot of people, it's the same way. I started by playing GTA 5, and then came over here. I knew RP would be pretty fun, but I also didn't really think too much about all of the rules, and just like I said, the laws in the city. So on the very first day, I walked up to a police officer with an AK-47 in my hand, just asking a question about how to get a license plate, and I was instantly arrested. And the thing that sucks is I was just trying to do something, and then I had to go through the whole jail proceedings, and I sat in prison for, I believe, 45 minutes. And in order for time to actually pass through properly, you have to be active in the game. You can't just stand there and go into sleep mode. Which brings me to one of the rules of the city, anti-AFK, which I see people get in trouble for all the time. As many of you probably already know, anti-AFK is pretty much a way that you're able to be in the game, earn money from your paychecks, and let time pass without you entering sleep mode, which is against the rules. But a lot of people still do it, and if you do it in prison, you'll get in more trouble, add more time to your sentence, and you'll just be stuck there for longer. When it comes to the rules, there is so many different rules you need to follow, and this happens with every single RP server. It's not the biggest issue in the world, just make sure you stay in line. But a few rules that everybody should know: don't VDM, don't car ram, don't RDM, but then there's some other ones that are just kind of insane. And I see people get in trouble for this every day, and if that happened to me, I'd just be really shocked. Like the fact that in club chat, if you use too many capital letters in one word or sentence, you'll get muted, which I find kind of crazy. If you also say that you're selling something, you'll get in trouble for that as well. It would be great if people could also learn to drive, because about 5 people have just rammed into my car while I've been recording this video. That's one major thing I wish I knew earlier. Even though there's so many rules you need to follow, after a little while you'll kind of just get the hang of it. Just don't do anything crazy and out of line. And if you ever have a question, simply click M and then click Contact Administration. And why is there so much shit blowing up? Oh, some dude jumped out of a helicopter. Okay. But yeah, if you're ever having any trouble, Contact Administration and one of the admins will help you out with whatever questions you have, as long as they aren't RP related. If it's a question about a rule, whether or not you should do something, ask them, and they're there. Some other ones, though, I still find crazy. Like I said, I came from GTA 5. If you take a car like this, the one I'm driving, and go off-roading, you'll probably be sent to admin jail. But if you take a truck, or you take a Jeep, or something that's meant for off-roading, you won't get in trouble. You'll be completely fine. And there's some instances where you can actually use that to your advantage. If you're getting chased by the cops, but you're in a Jeep, or you're on a dirt bike, technically you can go off-road. It's non-RP if you do it in a Ferrari or a Lamborghini. But if it's a vehicle meant for off-roading, it's fine. And all of these rules about the city and all of the laws in the city are also available to everybody. Just make sure you're in the Grand RP Discord, and you'll be able to go through all of that. Anyways, let's jump into the next thing here, which is going to be selling things too early. Now, this is definitely a curse for me, because I feel like it happens all the time. The amount of clothing items and properties that I've owned, and I've sold them for either the same amount that I purchased them for, or even for a lower amount, is mind-blowing to me. Now, I've actually asked multiple people about this, and they all said, yeah, you really screwed up. So it's something I wish I knew way earlier, because I would have just kept all of that stuff, and I would have had a lot more money in my hands. Let's take a trip down memory lane. So a little while ago, I actually owned this house right here. Sadly, it doesn't have a helipad, which was a big disappointment for me, because I wanted one with a helipad. I believe I sold it for about $55 million. Pretty sure this house goes for over 200 mil now, which is kind of crazy to me. We continue to drive down this road, and while I owned that house, I also owned one in the neighborhood of the Playboy Mansion, down this road right here, and it was this house right here. Now, this is a pretty beautiful house. Once again, sadly, no helipad, but I owned it. It was my family house. It was pretty dope. And I believe when I bought it, I only paid $40 million for it. When I sold it, I think I got 60 mil. It recently went on auction, or actually I shouldn't say recently, but it was on the auction, and I believe it went for over $300 million, which was insane. So as you can see, I lost a lot of money on those. Let's head up north a little bit. This house right here, my first ever family house. It was amazing, and whoever owns this house, please hit me up. I really want to buy it back. Look how great this place is. Look at the view. There's a helipad right here, and if you own stunt planes, you can actually take off right from the backyard. It was a great house. I know this is going to be shocking to a lot of people. I sold this house for about $15 million. That's right, 15 mil for a house with a helipad. Then again, this is back when people with 50,000 IDs were considered new to the city. Nowadays, that house probably goes for maybe 150 to 200 million. Maybe even more than that. I'm not the greatest on house pricing, but if you know how much it would cost, let me know down below. Then we got this house right here, which also used to be one of my family houses. There's a helipad right here on the front lawn. Pretty beautiful house. I sold this one, I believe, for 69 million. I know for a fact it's worth a lot more now because pretty much any house with a helipad is guaranteed to be over 150 mil. I actually did own a house in Richmond that I sold recently, and I believe I got $160 million for it. It didn't have a helipad, but it still went for a whole lot of money. So I really wish I held on to all of those properties, or at least 3 of them, because you can have up to 3 properties, but instead I decided to sell them all and lost millions of dollars. And this isn't only for houses, it's about other things too. I've tested many different businesses in the city, but there was one business I actually owned for myself, and I managed to get it off the auction. It's back when they added some new tattoo parlors to the game. This is also at the time when they added the ghetto hospital, which means if you die somewhere on the south side of the map, you would spawn over here, at this hospital right here, which was a pretty poppin' area. The tattoo parlor I owned is the one literally right down the road from here. This tattoo parlor was making over $800,000 per day when I owned it. I ended up purchasing it for only around $70 million, I think, off the auction. I was the very first owner of it. But then they removed the ghetto hospital, and I started to make only $200,000 a day. So I decided to sell it, and I think I only got 55 mil for it. I believe I actually put this in a video, because the person I sold it to looked like they just joined the city that day, and then just bought it straight cash for 55 mil. Maybe I didn't buy it for 70 mil. I can't really remember. It was a fairly long time ago. Either way, that thing probably goes for well over 200, maybe over 250 mil now. Because a business that can make over 200K a day sells for a pretty decent amount of money nowadays. And then when it comes to clothing items, Adidas pants, for example, used to go for 8 mil. I could have bought a bunch of them, because back then I still had well over $200 million. Imagine I ended up purchasing 10 pairs of them. I could have sold them all nowadays for over $70 million each. I actually just saw somebody post an ad saying selling them for 77 mil. I don't know why they're so expensive, but I definitely could have got a few pairs along with some of my friends, but we all decided to sell back then and lost out on literally tens of millions of dollars. Even a couple of my friends ended up purchasing a black LV top. Back then, they'd go for around 90 to 100 mil. And I believe now they go for over 200 mil. One of my friends actually kept their black one and white one. I don't know why they still don't want to sell them, but I believe you can get over 250 mil each for those tops. So the tip I can give, and that's something I wish I knew earlier, don't be in a rush to sell something, because the prices normally end up going higher and higher because the economy keeps getting worse and worse. So if you have an item that you purchased for a decent amount of money, don't rush to sell it. And definitely make sure you find a good price, because there's always somebody out there that's willing to pay. It just depends how much they want it. And the final thing that I really wish I did a lot earlier is storing items in my cars. Now, as you know, when you purchase a house, you get a storage inside there, and it's great. You get 5 pages with most houses, with 30 slots of storage on each and every page. That's a lot of items that you can hold in there. But then there's an issue. What if you lose the house? Maybe you forget to pay, or you get banned for a month, or maybe something came up in real life and you just aren't able to play at all. When that timer runs out and you're unable to pay for your house, the house will go up onto the auction. But sadly, it's not just the house, it's everything that you have in the storage as well. So if I were to lose this house right now, every single one of these items would go to the person who bids on the house. Now, what ended up happening a while ago is I owned 2 apartments. I had a lot of stuff in the storages, and I didn't play for a couple of weeks. I ended up losing the houses, somebody else got them, and whatever was in the storages. Now, even though it is great that I have tons of storage space across 3 houses, 2 of the houses which I actually just used for storage alone, if I ever lose the houses, I lose everything in there as well. So if you know you're not going to play for a while, which is something I wish I knew earlier, have some other vehicles to store stuff in. For example, Bodhies. I own 9 of them. They're only like 27 grand, I think, and they have a ton of trunk space. So spawn them in, open the trunk, and store your stuff in there. The amount of trunk space you get here is the exact same amount that you would get on one page in any house, or the same amount that you would get at a warehouse. But a warehouse is the same way. If you don't pay for it, you're going to end up losing it. Like I said, I really wish I knew that earlier. I can't even remember what I had in the storages of those houses, but I guarantee you, I lost millions of dollars. And whoever ended up buying them, if you ever manage to see this video, let me know down below what was in the house. I don't need to get it back or anything, but hopefully you're happy with it. So if you're newer to the city, I'd highly recommend storing stuff in trunks. And make sure you're storing it in your own trunk. Because one of my friends used to hang out with somebody all the time, and they stored one of their really nice clothing items in their trunk, and then both of them kind of stopped playing, and they lost touch. And I believe the person actually ended up getting banned. So that means my friend ended up getting screwed over because they lost something that was worth $20-30 million just because they stored it in somebody else's trunk. Same thing goes for family vehicles. If you store it in a family vehicle, anybody in your family is able to access that trunk and take it. Even though it is against the rules, it still can happen. Or if the family leader gets banned, for example, all of those cars are tied to them. Certain vehicles don't have insane trunk space, like this tiny little Bugatti right here. It's literally got one line, and I have some crappy random items stored in here. But yeah, I really wish I knew that earlier, because like I said, I lost a lot of stuff from that. Even though I do still store stuff in my houses, I know I'm able to pay for them. But if the time ever comes where I can't play for a month or 2 months or even a year, I will lose these houses along with everything inside of them. I wish I knew it earlier, but sometimes you just can't really tell because something will just end up happening and you're not thinking about that in the moment. You come back to it later and you're like, shit, I just lost everything. But anyways, those are just a few things that I wish I knew earlier when I was playing in the city. Like I said, comment down below some things that you guys wish you knew earlier to help out the newer players, because I see new players get demorganed all the time because they didn't read the rules. They lose tons of stuff because they missed out on paying for this. Or maybe they put it in somebody else's trunk thinking that nobody else could access it. Just doing things simply because they didn't know better. And it's not even their fault. Everybody does it. But anyways, like I said, let me know some things down below that you guys wish you knew about earlier when playing in this city. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. And with that said, I will catch you guys in the next one.